Hello everybody, Mike Tuttle here from Rhapsody Music in Anthem, Arizona, coming to you from the Rhapsody studio right here in the back of our own facility, where we try and be Rhapspired every day to get our kids inspired about playing some music, and we get inspired about teaching them. So I just want to talk to you a little bit today, a little conversation about who's been part of my musical journey along the way. How did I get opened up to the concept of music and the love and the joy and everything that I have going on for that? And I would urge you to think about, while you're listening to this, who's inspired you? I bet if you're a musician, you have probably been inspired by somebody along a path somewhere that has really given you the motivation to step forward and do it. Might be a professional artist you listen to, might be someone in your life, could be any number of folks. And I'll even challenge you a little further. In your journey today or in the near future, who can you inspire to actually take a little more of a musical step themselves? So probably my most influential people are going to be my parents. I was very fortunate, grew up in a musical household. My dad played, we don't say this often, but he started playing accordion and cello when he was young. But he turned into a guitar player later in his life. And my mom is still a phenomenal singer. Had a chance to actually sing professionally when she was growing up in Hawaii. And then they moved over, obviously, to the mainland by the time she had married my dad. And then my mom and dad formed an R&B group, kind of a top 40, playing lounges and country clubs and parties and doing that. And I was part of that whole process as they were doing that. I got to haul equipment around for them for free, of course. As I started playing the trumpet, I actually got to go do some little performances with them. I remember playing the trumpet part from Ease On Down the Road from The Wiz. Up in Washington State at one of the big festivals they played at, so that was kind of a fun trip. But very musically talented and just very musically supportive. So when I initially said I want to play the trumpet, I wasn't allowed to play the trumpet in fourth grade. And so my mom called the band director and said, hey, my son is really motivated. He really wants to get in and do this. And so she was able to carve that opportunity out for me. So again, her inspiration, her push, her support. My first band, my first teacher, Del Hartman, out from the Bellevue School District in Washington State. He was the guy that gave me that chance in fourth grade to come and take lessons with him. I was the only kid in school getting those private lessons at that point in time, but he saw enough of a spark in me and said, hey, I want to support this. I want to see where it goes. And it kept going from there. I had some great teachers. My high school teachers, Judd Etzel and Bernie Ackerman up at Bothell High School in Washington State. Phenomenal musicians, phenomenal band directors. Such an amazing depth of instruction I got as a young musician in high school. I was taking private lessons from both Gary Marsh and the great Roy Cummings, who spent so much time up in Washington, at University of Washington, teaching there. And then that carried on. I mean, I was always having great mentors. When I went to college, getting a chance to work in the band program with Larry Gukin, who had a unique opportunity, or unique skill set, I should say, for creating such a deep and wonderful wind ensemble sound. Got great instruction from him in conducting and playing and wind ensemble. Bob Paneri, my trumpet professor, who had come straight out of the big band area and was, he was all guts, man. And he pushed my buttons a bunch and really pushed me to be better probably than I would have on my own. Other instructors, Patty Smith was a great influence on me, teaching me how to be an educator and teaching me how to really talk to kids in a variety of different fashions. And I'm going to even talk names, I'm going to leave some people out. So all through, there's tons of people. Some of the peer group I had there, what a great mentor in Wally Ridgewell, who I still follow along on Facebook. He's up doing a bunch of teaching and playing, and he puts a bunch of his own recordings on. Wally Ridgewell was my first lead trumpet player in college. And again, influenced me in so many different ways. I remember talking to him about mouthpieces, which any that know trumpet players know that mouthpieces is a big game. And I was asking him, what mouthpiece can I play high on? And he said, stop fooling around, get good as a trumpet player and play on a 3C, and you'll be able to play, your range will be just fine. So he kind of cut through the crap and said, you don't need a mouthpiece answer, just play on what you play on and play well. Jake Bergevin, who was a peer of mine at school, and he's teaching up in Washington State still. He and I were peers for a lot of years teaching up in Washington. It's fun. I get to see him. He's playing all the time. What a great singer and trumpet player. That he's been such a great influence for me to follow and kind of keep track of as time went on. And even my students, some of my greatest inspiration to this day is my students. I had the good fortune of having some students that went on to do phenomenal things. One young saxophone player named Steveessler. And by the way, look up all these names because these guys are viable, valid, really phenomenal musicians. Steveessler, a young tenor sax player and clarinet player, came in And he was all fingers, man, when he started. And I swear to goodness, he probably practiced 3-4 hours a day. I think he was taking 3 different private lessons. He was taking clarinet, saxophone, jazz improvisation. Just one of those kids that you put a piece of music in front of him and he just ate it up. I remember getting compliments. Man, Mike, you taught Steve really good. What'd you do with him? And I'm like, I just put music in front of him. And he inspired me as we went on. He ended up going over to the New England Conservatory of Music to get his music education on a scholarship program. He's back in the Seattle area performing, writing, teaching, phenomenal influence in the Seattle music scene. Remember one young story, a young drum student, big kid. Basketball coach wanted him, football coach wanted him. The kid was an amazing drummer. As a freshman, walked in the door, and we really saw good things for him. Ended up doing more football and basketball. He ended up kind of dropping, maybe out of the band program in high school through his junior and senior year and focused in on sports. I ran into him at a music festival like 10 years later. And across the way I hear, Mr. Tuttle, Mr. Tuttle. And I'm looking around and there's Grant. He comes up to me, Mr. Tuttle, how you doing? He goes, you'll never guess what I'm doing now. I said, what are you doing? Playing professionally and teaching. So he had come back to full circle on what had great talent the young man had as a drummer. And he's getting a chance to perform and teach. Stories like that. Chris Sigmund, one of my early students, he's anchoring a band program down in the Vancouver, Washington area. Kristin Olson, an oboe student and Barry sax player I had, got a chance to play principal oboe for the Mexico City Symphony for a while, opened her own reed cutting, double reed, reed lizard, cutting double reeds. The stories go on and on and on. And those of us that are in music, I think that's inherently part of who we are. We are really part of the crafting of all of this inspiration and all of this influence in every kind of stage and walk and journey that we have. Not one of them is really any more important than another in my estimation. I think they all are equally as important. That's what I'm trying to do when I'm here. What can I give that next trumpet student or next just music student that I have? What's that piece that I can give them to let them achieve and aspire and achieve some of the great joy that I've had of being a musician for all my life. 9 years old is when I first blew the trumpet, and so that's 47 years coming up that I've been doing that. And I can't think of hardly anything else that I'd rather be doing. I joke with folks, basketball was one of my main loves, but those of you that have seen me walk, you've seen my hips and that. So basketball is now kind of a watching joy, but trumpet and music is something I get to do still every day. And it just doesn't get old. It's fresh every single day when I do it. So hopefully part of this conversation allows you to think a little bit about maybe who has inspired you. Maybe reach out, say thank you. We've got the great platforms of Facebook and Instagram and communication and blah, blah, all those things. So reach out to somebody and say thank you. And if you've got an opportunity to inspire somebody today, maybe that's as a parent, you get to support your child, get them into some music program, get them participating. If you get a chance to be a musician, find a way to inspire a young musician. And let's keep this journey of music alive. It is in my opinion, one of those things that we as humans can bind together through all walks of life. I joke oftentimes, I could sit down with musicians from 5 different countries in a brass group. We can put music in front of us and we can play. Not a hitch. We don't need to be able to talk to each other specifically to be able to share that love and joy of music and understand what we're all trying to say. So hopefully you can join us in our journey of inspiration here at Rhapsody. We'll keep Rhapspired going on all the time. So again, I always urge people to join us. If you can find us on Facebook and find us on Instagram and find us on YouTube and on whatever social media platform you can, like us, subscribe to us, be part of that journey with us, and let's push forward together with this. You can call me at 623-465-7060 if you have any questions. If you ever want to email me and put in some content requests, Mike at rhapsodyschoolofmusic.com. We'd love to talk about what you'd love to talk about. So let us know what that might be, and we'll keep this journey going together. Thanks so much. Have a blessed day.